Also, take a look at the stocks of manufacturer Novo Nordisk and Eli Lilly, who makes a similar drug. They've soared in the last 3 months, with both of them up more than 17%. Joining us right now is Dr. Scott Gottlieb, the former FDA commissioner and a CNBC contributor who also serves on the boards of both Pfizer and Illumina. And Scott, we may have shown Michael Rubin because he said it on air, but all of these guests that have been coming in here have been talking about how they're using this. And it might be off-label usage. These are not people who were seriously heavy to begin with. What do you think? What's happening?
Yeah, look, I think what you're seeing on Instagram and Twitter, a lot of that is off-label use. These drugs are indicated if you're obese, so a BMI above 30, so that would be about 200 pounds for someone who's 5'9", or you're overweight, so you have a BMI between 25 and 30, and you have one or more risk factors related to the weight. Look, there's a significant unmet need here. Obesity rates have really risen in the last 5 years. These drugs can be very effective, but you want to make sure they're used appropriately. And there's at least anecdotal evidence when you look at social media that people are using these inappropriately. There's people who could benefit from diet and exercise, probably can achieve their goal through those mechanisms, who are now reaching for the drugs as a quick way to lose weight. And that's concerning. I don't think it's what's driving the shortages right now. There were some manufacturing issues, and I'm not sure this is pervasive enough that's really driving a lot of excess utilization. There's a large indicated population, but you certainly should be concerned about the trends.
You know, it sounds great, and I think it's got to be really good. As you mentioned, obesity rates have gone up, especially after the pandemic and the lockdowns. But I always feel like if it's too good to be true, I mean, are there side effects that come with this? Do people keep the weight off if they stop doing the injections?
So they don't. When people come off the medications, a lot of them will regain the weight. There are side effects. There's short-term side effects. It causes nausea, it can cause constipation or diarrhea. There's been evidence in animal studies that it causes thyroid tumors. We don't know if that's going to translate into humans. So there's no free lunch. You want to make sure if you're taking any pharmaceutical that you're properly indicated for it. And so someone who has a BMI of 25 or less can benefit from diet and exercise, shouldn't be on one of these drugs. I think above that, if you have risk factors, you can consider it. That's where it's indicated. They can be very effective. At the highest dose, Wegovy, which is the Novo Nordisk drug that's indicated for weight loss, people lost upwards of about 20% of their body weight. These were people who were obese, who had BMIs above 30. So they can be effective for people who need it. And one other statistic, when you look at obesity rates in this country, in 2015, 25% of Americans were overweight, obese, had a BMI above 30. In 2019, it rose to 35%. Now it's at 42%.
Wow.
So rates have really risen.
Awful.
Right. So there's a big unmet need. These drugs could be effective at helping more people lose weight. But if they become lifestyle medications on Twitter and Instagram, that's
the question is, all of these folks who are taking it now, you think they're going to take it, or they're going to want to take it for the rest of their life, right?
Well, look, they're going to have to if they want to maintain the weight loss, unless they can modify their behaviors while they're on the drug and use the drug as a way to modify their behaviors. But what the drug does is it gives you a sense of fullness, so you don't want to eat as much. It also slows emptying from the stomach, so people feel full when they sit down for a meal.
It slows motility?
It slows motility in the stomach, yeah. It mimics a hormone.
That's not a great thing, necessarily.
It mimics a hormone that's secreted in the intestine, so it slows gastric emptying, and it also gives you a sense of satiety, fullness.
But it also apparently impacts your ability to build muscle and exercise.
Well, it can cause fatigue, and some people complain of those symptoms. A lot of the symptoms are early in the course of coming onto medication, so doctors will titrate people onto these medications slowly, and then they build a tolerance for the drug itself. But there's no free lunch here, so to speak.
Yeah.
So you need to make sure that you're properly indicated if you're going to use this. And you want to, if it's going to be used in settings where people aren't as at risk,
right.
It should be properly studied.
What are you telling your friends? I'm sure you have a whole bunch of friends in your world who are saying either I'm going on Ozempic, I am on Ozempic, or I'm on one of these other ones. What do you...
Yeah, look, I'm telling them not to do it. I have the same advice.
You're telling them not to?
Yeah, I have the same advice when I was at the FDA, which is if you're taking an active pharmaceutical ingredient, you want to make sure you're properly indicated for it, because as you use drugs in lower risk settings, you tend to realize more of the side effects and fewer of the benefits. If you're not at risk, if you're, not overweight, not obese,
if it's not causing other health problems,
you're not going to realize as many of the benefits of the drug, and you could realize more of the side effects in those kinds of settings. I think also some people, are taking these drugs and potentially using them as an excuse to try to eat more because they know the drug is going to help them reduce weight at the same time.